This is Dr. Dennis Bielfeldt at the Christ School of Theology. I have the pleasure to come to you today and talk about Immanuel Kant and his critique of pure reason. And of course, the reason we're talking about this in a theological curriculum is because, of course, Kant has tremendous influence on theology over the last 200 years. And if we don't know that, we can't understand why theologians do what they do. We can't even understand why they're doing the things they do if we don't understand the importance of Kant. Okay, so Kant's talking about space and time. In the Critique of Pure Reason, he gives us a view of space and time that could be conceived of as a view that's more absolutist than relational, but not objective, right? He says that space and time are the pure a priori forms of sensibility. They are the conditions for the possibility of sensation. They are the conditions without which any particular experience is had. They are the conditions, the sine qua non for the Möglichkeit, or the possibility, right, of a particular. Now, think about the form of a thing. All right? We think about content and we think about form. And when we think about form and content, of course, in our minds, we can always change the content. But at least in certain classes of things, it's difficult to change the form. For instance, I can change the content of what I paint upon a canvas. But it's difficult to change the notion of canvas itself. I suppose I could have a bigger one or a smaller one, right? Well, hold on to that image, actually, because it's the image he uses. He says, Kant says this is his phenomenological argument for the for the existence of these pure forms of sensibility. He says, while I can imagine a particular bit of white, or perhaps a shape not being seen, I cannot imagine space not existing, right? For it is the condition for the possibility of imagining a bit of white or a shape. He says that particulars always appear within space and time. All right. Now, you can do this at home. You can do this in the privacy of your own room. Shut your eyes. Right? What do you see? Well, I see kind of I don't see anything, but there's a field there that I could see things on, right? I can think of left and right and up and down. There's the canvas there that things could appear within. Now, what Kant is arguing here is that space and time are forms of sensibility. They're real. They're the conditions for the possibility of particular intuitions, he calls them, which are experiences of an individual thing. And what he is trying to claim here is that Leibniz is wrong. Leibniz, if you remember right, wanted to argue that everything that is was either a clear concept or a concept less clear, but that space and time are not the things that substances are in, right? Substances are their own simple things having activity, right, and appetite. Substances, Begehren, I noticed in German yesterday. Kant wishes to show that Leibniz gets it wrong when it comes to space, because what Leibniz is really trying to do, any kind of spatial relations are supposed to be the properties of the thing. So space can be understood conceptually, you see, as part of the property of the thing, part of the predicate in notion, right? And he says, well, guys, look around. All right, here's a left hand, here's a right hand. Same concept, right? Concept of my left hand is the same concept of my right hand. Uh-oh. They don't fit. They're different, but they have the same concept. This is his so-called question of incongruent counterparts. The concept of the right hand is the same concept as that of the left. The arrangement of fingers with respect to the thumb is the same. Yet, by holding the hands together, one notices that they are incongruent. They do not occupy the same region of space. So from this, and a whole bunch of other things, Kant concludes that the regions of space are not of a conceptual nature, but rather they are the forms of perception itself. And then he gets into the transcendental aesthetic. Now, when Kant uses the word aesthetic, don't think of a beautiful picture. He uses this in a way that's connected to the Greek, actually. Transcendental aesthetic concerns what are the conditions for the possibility of an experience in particular. And he argues that, of course, space and time, the pure forms of space and time, are the forms for the possibility, the conditions for the possibility of sensibility as such. Sense perceptions, then, are produced by whatever is outside the mind, we don't know what that is, filtered through the forms of space and time. Now, I don't know about you, but I can never get outside my mind. I try it a lot. But I'm always stuck in it. So I'd like to go out and I'd like to be out in the world and see how the world's like, but I'm always stuck in my mind, and so it's always the world filtered through my mind, okay? So whatever is outside the mind, in and of itself, which is never directly experienced, at least from the standpoint of the first critique, is what he calls the noumenal. Now I'm skipping over certain niceties here. There was an argument that things in themselves and things as they appear to us, that that's not exactly the same distinction as the noumenal phenomenal. But I'm skipping over that to give you kind of the way it's often talked about. That which is outside the mind and which never can be experienced is the noumenal. That which is experienced is the phenomenal. The transcendental aesthetic concerns the conditions for the possibility of the experience of a particular. I'm Dr. Dennis Bielfeldt of the Christ School of Theology. I'll be right back with you, and we're going to now move into the transcendental analytic, because I know some of you are wanting to move forward here in Kant. So I'll be right back. Thank you very much.